Enola is the brand new Netflix original film that just hit the streaming service. I'm going to let you know today here on Max Talks Movies if this was a great ender to a really good trilogy, or should they have left this franchise on ice. This is the third film of this now 6-year trilogy. The first film came out in 2020. The second film on Netflix came out in 2022. Once again, Millie Bobby Brown is back as our detective, Enola Holmes, the younger sister of Sherlock Holmes, who once again in this movie is played by Henry Cavill. Enola is finally getting ready to get married to the love of her life, Lord Tewksbury, played by Louis Partridge. But as she's questioning her marriage, she finally realizes that her brother Sherlock has been kidnapped. And that obviously does not happen that often. And she is tasked with trying to find out where he went with the clues that he left behind. Also back in this franchise is Eudora Holmes, once again played by Helena Bonham Carter, Enola's mom, who is a criminal who could lead to some helpful stuff throughout the film. Also, you have Himesh Patel back as Dr. Watson. Also, once again, Jack Thorne's back writing the screenplay, and Philip Berrettini, who directed all 4 episodes of Adolescence, takes over in the director's chair. The movie is an hour and 45 minutes and is PG-13. Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new movie review here on Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Dinner. We're talking Enola Holmes 3, and this is a franchise that I actually like a lot. I really enjoy the first 2 Enola Holmes films. They're not the greatest movies of all time. They're not even some of the best Netflix movies you'll ever see, but for me, they were exactly what they should have been. Enjoyable, whimsical adventure movies, detective films with Millie Bobby Brown and Henry Cavill doing work together. I really liked the first 2 Enola Holmes films, but the trailers for this did not really sell me on why we need to make a third one, and the fact that it seems like a lot of the supporting cast takes a back seat based on the trailers. That was my expectation level coming in here, and I do say I was pretty underwhelmed by Enola Holmes. Not that this is like a bad movie or anything, but this is easily, for me, the weakest of the 3 films. Now, the biggest positive, as are with the first 2 movies, is this really charming ensemble that they have created for this franchise. Millie Bobby Brown is whimsical, charming as Enola Holmes. She once again has to break the 4th wall multiple times throughout this film, and she is very brave in this movie. She has a lot of action film set pieces, but you can definitely tell she's having a lot of fun playing this character because, again, in the majority of her other projects, she never plays a role like this where she can be British and have all this fun and hit the one-liners, be self-aware. And you can tell that Millie Bobby Brown is having a blast playing this character. She's obviously a producer on this franchise, and as well as the lead, she's always really good. Henry Cavill, when he's on screen as Sherlock Holmes, is always great. I still think the best part of this franchise is when we're seeing scenes between Enola and Sherlock. The older brother, younger sister dynamic that they have is easily the best aspect of these films. And when Cavill's on screen with her, the movie feels like we were with those first 2 films. Always great having Helena Bonham Carter back for that quick moment of screen time in this movie as Enola's mother. She's obviously also having a really good time. I also really like Himesh Patel as Dr. Watson. Really well cast. He has the most to do, I would say, in this one out of the previous entries in the franchise. We're in Malta for the majority of the film, so the locations are lush. The production design is kind of gorgeous, I would say, in this movie. And it's a very fast-paced movie. It's like an easy watch. It's an hour 45. It truthfully does fly by. But I really was more bored in that watching this movie than like excited, gleeful, laughing at all. And that is a shame because even though the plots and the twists and turns of those first 2 movies aren't these mind-blowing reveals or anything, I was laughing, having a good time, enjoying the action scenes. There weren't that many memorable action set pieces that were in this movie. And I think the biggest problem is that Sherlock is the one being kidnapped in this movie. And that means that Henry Cavill, because of that storyline, is not in the movie this much. It definitely feels like when you watch this movie that they maybe had Henry Cavill on set for 2, maybe 3 days to actually shoot stuff. So it seems like they wrote the whole plot around not being able to have Henry Cavill in the movie that much. And you can feel it because, as I said, what I love about the first 2 movies when Enola and Sherlock are doing stuff together, that's why I like, especially at the second film, learning stuff about each other as they go through this investigation, how they do things differently. what is good, what is bad about how they investigate, that brother-sister dynamic is completely gone in this movie because Sherlock is taken away 15 minutes into the movie, and he periodically appears, but it just feels like they didn't really have him on set for that long. So the movie is all about Enola and really Tewksbury as well. And I just don't think the romantic flair has ever really been there for me between Tewksbury and Enola. I don't think Millie Bobby Brown and Louis Partridge have the greatest of romantic chemistry. And I think the problem with it is also this franchise is all about Enola being very independent, not just of her gender, not just being an independent woman out there in the workforce and trying to be a detective on her own, but she's also trying to become more than just another Holmes. Sherlock is very famous, but she wants to have her own legacy that's not being shielded by the Holmes name. That's why she also thinks it's a great idea to get married, get rid of the Holmes name, and start her own kind of reset where she is. But also does she realize that she's losing value on the name of Holmes. But as such an independent woman, all these storylines, and then the movie cuts to like a cutesy, cheesy, romantic storyline. Those plot lines to me just don't gel that well in this movie. The villain's motivations don't make any sense and is easily the least interesting villain I would say we've had in the entire franchise. And I was just sitting there feeling like kind of bored. Like this really wasn't necessary. If they didn't have everyone available at all times to film this movie, why make the movie? And it just feels like sometimes they're also trying to be like, oh, the British government did this decades ago and it was so horrible. But again, it was war, so some things have happened. It felt like the most cash grabby mainstream Enola Holmes movie that we have gotten so far. It was the least funny. It had my least favorite action scenes of the franchise. Sherlock is barely in this movie, so the brother-sister dynamic is kind of gone in this movie. But again, is the cast charming? They are. It looks great. The production design is great. The score when it's there is pretty good. It's very easy to watch this movie and not like it didn't anger me watching this. I also just didn't have the greatest of time watching it, and I had such a great time watching the first two films. So I am definitely disappointed by Enola Holmes 3. I'm giving it a 2.5 out of 5. I'm going to go 51% for Enola Holmes 3. What are you guys' thoughts on this movie? Let me know down in the comments section. Like this video. Please as well subscribe to my YouTube channel and my Patreon channel. If you like my review for Enola Holmes 3, check out my videos above for Enola Holmes 2 as well. See you guys in another video very soon.